As you guys probably remember from the walkthrough, for this particular chart, you have to look at Margot versus her classmates, and then of course you as the reader. So I've taken time and I have thought more about my expectations and then what I need to do. In my video, I've been using a video for my examples. If you want to see the video I'm using, I use the same video on slide 16 so you know where I'm coming from. But in order to do this well, all your questions have to be answered. All answers have to make sense with what's being stated in the text. It has to be evidence-based. In y'all's particular case, it wouldn't hurt to cite your evidence. And then answers about the reader make sense with what's shared with you throughout the slideshow. So unfortunately, I haven't really created that context that you guys have for my example, but I'm really going to pay attention right here to Nemo versus Marlin so you can see their point of view. So for this particular thing, it says, what is the character's point of view? Nemo is playing dead to try to get flushed down the drain. So this is what Nemo's doing. He does not want to be killed by Darla. So in this particular case, Nemo's playing dead to get flushed down the drain. He's playing dead. That's the important thing here. His whole idea is that if he is alive, Darla will get a hold of him. And then, of course, we know what happens to fish when they get caught by Darla. So what is Marlin's point of view? So Marlin just comes busting through the window. He thinks that Nemo is actually dead and wants to save him at all cost. So we have Nemo, whose whole point of view is if I play dead, I'll live. And then you have Marlin, who is a concerned dad, who's like, oh my goodness, my son's dead. I'm going to save him no matter what. So they have very different points of view. The other one, if you notice from the video, the other one doesn't know that the other one's in the room yet, or besides Marlin, but he thinks he's dead. But Nemo doesn't know his dad's in the room. So what is Nemo's life experience? So that's where I have to reflect back on the whole movie, and I have to think, okay, Nemo is a sheltered kid with an overprotective dad trying to get home on his own. Okay, so that's what's going on with Nemo. So Nemo's a sheltered kid with an overprotective dad trying to get home on his own. Marlin, we have to remember all the way back to the beginning of the movie to get his life experience. Marlin was a happy family man until his whole family was murdered by a barracuda, leaving behind his only son, Nemo. So his life experience comes into play a lot when you really think about it, because Nemo's his only son, which would explain the why he wants to protect them at all costs. So now we got to think about, what does Nemo value and believe? Nemo definitely values family, bravery, and independence. That's one of his whole things, is he wants to get home, he wants to prove to his dad he can do it by himself, and he wants to prove that he's brave. So what are Marlin's values and beliefs? He believes in safety, family, and protection. So his whole goal, as you can see, is really reflected in what he does. So what are the characters' assumptions? So in this particular case, Nemo's assumption Nemo's assuming that he'll get flushed. I have to come back up here and add the fact that it's important to know that he thinks that if he uses Gil's plan, that he can get home safely. So you can see here how you can kind of sum up all of what Nemo is thinking based on that. So what is Marlin's assumption? Nemo is in danger, which he is, that's a fake assumption, and dead. So he is left thinking that he is all alone. And so as a reader, this leaves us with a sense of suspense and anxiety because Marlin now thinks that his son is dead and that he's gone. Okay, so this is where we have to think your point of view. In my particular case, I'm watching it unfold. So my point of view is that I know that Nemo is faking and that Marlin doesn't know it. And then my experience is that I can relate to this story. I really don't know of any life experiences I have that can relate to the story other than the fact that I've seen Nemo 1,000 times. So when you read this in your point of view, think about how you felt when someone bullied you or something bad happened to you. So if you want to try to relate it to Margot. And so what are my beliefs and values? I value family, safety, protection. The older I get, the more I realize I'm like Marlin. But I also value my independence. So like I said, the older I get, the more like Marlin I become. So what are my assumptions? Well, at this point, I have to pretend I hadn't seen the movie. What are my assumptions? That Nemo will make it to the ocean. And this is where I could quote it. All drains lead to the ocean. But I don't know if him and his dad will be reunited. So that's where I'm being left here, not knowing. I know that Nemo might I'm assuming Nemo makes it to the ocean. And because it's a Pixar movie, I'm assuming everything's fine. But I really don't know.